What if the moment you are sitting here, reading this, scrolling your phone, watching a screen, your eyes are quietly dying? What if the slight blur you noticed last week, the headache that came after 3 hours on your laptop, the way the streetlights now look like they have halos around them at night? What if none of that was normal aging? What if it was a warning? And what if I told you that buried inside a decade of clinical observation and human behavioral study, there exists a set of exercises, 3 specific, almost embarrassingly simple exercises, that have shown the power to slow down, halt, and in some documented cases, partially reverse the damage being done to your eyes right now, today. As you sit here slowly going blind without ever being told you had a choice, would you listen? Because most people don't find out until it's too late. But you still have time. This is that moment. Don't waste it. The silent epidemic of vision loss. Millions of people worldwide are gradually losing their eyesight without even realizing it. Conditions like macular degeneration, glaucoma, and digital eye strain are rising at alarming rates. Yet most people only seek help when significant damage is already done. The eye is a muscle system. It can be trained. Just like the body's muscles weaken without movement, the muscles controlling focus, tracking, and eye pressure can deteriorate with modern screen-heavy lifestyles. Targeted exercises can genuinely slow or reverse this decline. Screen time is the modern poison. The average adult now spends 11+ hours per day on screens. This causes chronic ciliary muscle fatigue, reduced blinking from 15 times per minute to 5 times per minute, and long-term damage to the retina through blue light exposure. Neuroplasticity applies to vision. The brain and the visual cortex maintain plasticity well into adulthood. This means the connection between the eye and the brain can be strengthened, retrained, and even partially restored through consistent visual exercises. Prevention is 10 times cheaper than treatment. Laser surgeries, corrective lenses, and treatments for retinal diseases cost thousands. Simple daily exercises requiring zero equipment can serve as powerful preventive medicine. Yet this knowledge remains largely inaccessible to the general public. The 3 exercises that actually work research consistently points to 3 categories. Palming for relaxation and pressure relief, near-far focus shifting for ciliary muscle retraining, and figure 8 eye tracking for coordination and retinal stimulation. These are simple, free, and clinically observed to produce results. What if everything you were told about vision loss was incomplete? You were told it was genetic. You were told it was age. You were told to get stronger glasses, come back in a year, and accept it. But nobody, not one person in that clinic, that optometrist's office, that waiting room full of pamphlets, nobody ever sat you down and said, your eyes are suffering because of how you are living, and you have the power to fight back. That changes today. Let's talk about what is actually happening inside your eyes right now. Every single hour you spend staring at a screen, your ciliary muscle, the tiny powerful muscle inside your eye responsible for adjusting focus, is being held in a locked, contracted state. It is the equivalent of clenching your fist for 6 straight hours and then wondering why your hand is cramping. Over time, this constant contraction causes the muscle to weaken, the lens to lose flexibility, and your ability to shift focus from near to far, from screen to window, begins to collapse. This is not a mystery. This is mechanics, and mechanics can be fixed. Now, here is where it gets extraordinary. There was a researcher, Dr. Waterling, a behavioral optometrist and neuroscience-adjacent clinician who spent over 11 years observing patients who had been told by mainstream medicine that their progressive vision deterioration was irreversible. Dr. Waterling was not satisfied with that answer. He began tracking a specific subset of patients, people who had, largely out of desperation or curiosity, adopted structured daily eye movement practices. What he documented over those years was not a miracle. It was something more powerful than a miracle. It was a pattern, a repeatable, observable, consistent pattern of patients whose rate of vision decline slowed dramatically. Some plateaued entirely, and a smaller but statistically significant group showed measurable improvement in visual acuity, contrast sensitivity, and peripheral awareness. Dr. Waterling's conclusion was blunt and deeply uncomfortable for the mainstream optic industry. The human visual system retains far greater neuroplastic potential than we are being told. The eye, the optic nerve, and the visual cortex can be retrained. The question was, never can it be done. The question was, will you do it? Dr. Waterling identified 3 exercises at the core of every recovery pattern he observed. Not 20, not a complicated regimen. 3, and here they are. The first is called palming. You take your hands, rub them together until they are warm, and then gently cup them over your closed eyes. No pressure on the eyeball itself, just darkness and warmth. You hold this for 2 to 3 minutes. You breathe. What is happening in those quiet minutes is more significant than it looks. The optic nerve, which is under near constant stimulation in the modern world, is being given the signal to rest. Intraocular pressure, the pressure inside your eye that, when chronically elevated, contributes to glaucoma, begins to reduce. The ciliary muscle releases its grip. The retina, starved of genuine darkness by the blue glow of screens even at night, begins to recalibrate. Dr. Waterling found that patients who practiced palming twice daily, once in the morning, once before sleep, showed a measurable reduction in eye fatigue scores within just 3 weeks. 3 weeks. That is not a long time to begin saving your sight. The second exercise is near-far focus shifting. Hold your thumb approximately 10 inches from your face. Focus on it for 5 seconds. Really focus until it is sharp and clear. Then shift your gaze to something across the room, at least 20 feet away. Hold that for 5 seconds. Come back to your thumb. Repeat this 10 times. What you are doing is manually exercising the ciliary muscle through its full range of motion, contracting it for near focus, releasing it for far focus, the exact movement it was designed to perform that modern screen culture has nearly eliminated. Dr. Waterling observed something extraordinary in patients who adopted this practice. In a group of middle-aged participants with early-stage presbyopia, the age-related hardening of the lens that makes reading glasses necessary, those who practiced near-far shifting consistently for 60 days showed a statistically significant delay in the progression of their condition compared to the control group. The lens does not regain the elasticity of youth, but the muscle around it, the muscle can fight back. And when it fights back, you read without reaching for your glasses for just a little longer, and that little longer compounds. Day after day, year after year. The third exercise is figure 8 eye tracking. Imagine a giant figure 8 lying on its side, the infinity symbol, hovering about 10 feet in front of you. Now trace it slowly with your eyes. Not your head, your eyes. Trace it in one direction for 30 seconds, then reverse. This exercise targets the extraocular muscles, the 6 muscles that control the physical movement of your eyeball. These muscles are responsible for smooth tracking, for the rapid, tiny movements called saccades that your eyes make when reading, for your ability to follow motion without losing clarity. In the digital age, these muscles are grotesquely underused. We stare forward, we scroll up, we scroll down. The full rotational range these muscles were built for is almost never activated. Dr. Waterling's patient files are filled with reports from people who began figure 8 tracking and within weeks reported reduced eye strain during reading, clearer peripheral vision, and a reduction in the specific kind of headache that sits behind the eyes. The pressure headache that most people simply accept as part of their day. It is not part of your day. It is a symptom, and symptoms can be addressed. Now I want to say something directly to you. You may be thinking, this sounds too simple. If 3 exercises could genuinely help protect my eyesight, why doesn't everyone know about this? Why isn't my doctor handing me a pamphlet? Why isn't this on every health platform? And the answer to that question is one of the most important things you will hear today. Prevention is not profitable. Glasses are profitable. Surgeries are profitable. Drops are profitable. A person who spends 5 minutes a day doing palming and focus shifting and figure 8 tracking and keeps their vision healthy well into old age, that person is worth almost nothing to the optometry industry. But a person who is handed progressively stronger prescriptions every 18 months for 40 years, that person is extraordinarily valuable. This is not a conspiracy. It is economics. And once you understand it, you cannot unknow it. Dr. Waterling did not become famous. He did not land on the cover of medical journals. His work existed at the edge of what the mainstream was willing to accept, because what he was demonstrating threatened a very comfortable and very lucrative status quo. But the patients he worked with, they kept their sight. They kept their independence. They kept the ability to look at their grandchildren's faces in sharp, clear, vivid detail. That is not a small thing. That is everything. You are not powerless in this. The damage being done to your eyes is largely preventable. The progression of what has already begun is largely slowable, and the 3 tools that can help you do it cost you nothing except consistency and intention. Palm your eyes in the morning. Let me bring this home for you, because everything we have covered today comes down to one simple, undeniable truth. You were never meant to lose your vision quietly. You were never meant to sit in a dimly lit room, squinting at a screen, accepting blurred edges and tired eyes as the inevitable price of modern life. That story was never yours to own. It was handed to you, by habit, by convenience, by a system that profits far more from your deterioration than from your recovery. But today, something shifted. Today you learned that your eyes are not just organs. They are living, trainable, responsive systems that are waiting for you to pay attention to them. Today you learned that a researcher named Dr. Waterling spent over a decade watching people defy the diagnosis they were handed. Not through surgery, not through medication, not through expensive intervention, but through 3 exercises so simple that any person, anywhere, at any age can begin them the moment they close this screen. Palming, because rest is not laziness, it is medicine. Near-far focus, shifting, because the muscle inside your eye deserves the same respect and training you give every other part of your body. Figure 8, eye tracking, because your eyes were built for a wide and moving world and you owe them the movement they were designed for. This is not about perfection. This is not about doing all 3 exercises every single day without fail from this moment forward. This is about beginning. This is about the moment, this exact moment where you decide that your sight is worth 5 minutes of your morning. That your future, the future where you can still read without straining, still recognize faces across a room, still watch a sunset with the full, rich clarity it deserves, that future is worth fighting for. Dr. Waterling used to say something to every patient who walked into his office uncertain, overwhelmed, and told by someone else that nothing could be done. He would look at them and say, "The eye sees what the mind allows it to look for. Start looking for a way forward." That is what you are doing right now. You are looking forward. The vision you are afraid of losing is still largely in your hands. Protect it, train it, respect it, and start today. Not tomorrow, not after one more scroll, not after one more episode. Today. Thank you, genuinely from the bottom of my heart, for giving your time and your attention to something this important. In a world full of noise, you chose to sit with something real. That already tells me something extraordinary about you. You are the kind of person who acts before the crisis arrives. You are the kind of person who reads about the fire exits before the building starts burning. That instinct, that awareness, it will serve you in ways far beyond your eyesight. Now go. Palm your eyes, shift your focus, trace that infinity sign, and do it with the confidence of someone who knows they are doing something that truly matters. Good luck. Take care of your eyes. The world is too beautiful not to see it clearly.